What's the dumbest way your boss tried to save money and ended up paying you extra? When I first joined the firm, it was supposed to be temporary. I'd just graduated and wanted some time to figure out if law school was really for me. The receptionist job at a small law office seemed harmless enough. Answer calls, take messages, smile politely. Within a few months, my boss fired the legal assistant and immediately told me I was replacing her. No warning, no raise talk, just, you're taking over. The office had 8 people total, and turnover was constant. It didn't take long to see why. The boss was one of those loud, old-school types who bragged about his army days, flirted too much even though his wife was literally the office manager, and blamed everyone else when something went wrong. Training didn't exist. You were just expected to figure everything out from half-finished templates and old files. Despite that, I managed to clean up cases that had been sitting untouched for years. I corrected filings, updated client communications, and got real results. Still, he'd tell me my work was terrible, or that clients thought I was rude, even though the clients had literally told him it wasn't me. My coworkers often had to back me up when he started yelling at me for things I didn't do. After months of that nonsense, I started documenting everything. Every email, every request, every comment. If he said something verbally, I followed up with an email confirming it. When I had a meeting with his wife about training, I sent a polite summary afterward and attached screenshots showing that I'd been made to train someone just a week after I started. 3 weeks ago, he tried something new. He changed my employment status from essential to non-essential, saying it was because of my poor work. I found out he'd told my coworker before even telling me. Then he sent me a revised contract that he'd obviously rushed through. It said I'd now be paid $15 per phone call, $45 per family packet, and $15 per email correspondence, with phone calls capped at 0.5 hours each. He thought this would cut my pay drastically, but the way he worded it, it actually meant I'd get paid per item, not by time. And since I was labeled non-essential, I wasn't allowed in the office. Everything had to be done remotely, email, calls, forms. So I decided to follow the contract exactly as written. I handled every client call with extra care, asking how they were doing, letting them vent about their situations, and offering detailed follow-ups. Each call lasted as long as possible, but since the contract didn't say I couldn't make multiple calls per client, I just made separate ones when more information was needed. I also kept emailing documents and updates because that's what the contract paid for. When it came time to submit my hours, I itemized everything, calls, packets, and emails. My office manager CC'd my boss asking him to verify because the total looked unusually high. I broke everything down line by line and referenced the exact clause in my contract. That's when he panicked. He clearly hadn't expected me to actually read it. He asked me to resend the contract because he couldn't find his copy. I sent it immediately. After that, he went silent for a few days. Then, out of nowhere, he sent a new version of the contract. This time, claiming calls were worth 75 cents and emails were $1.50. He said that was always the intent. That was the final straw. I wrote a short resignation email, attached screenshots of our previous communications, copies of my timesheets, and even the state's stay-at-home order, confirming that non-essential employees couldn't report to the office. If he wanted me to come in, he'd have to provide an official letter stating I was essential, which he never did. He tried to change the story, saying I was actually an essential employee all along and that I misunderstood. But I'd already sent the resignation. After a few tense emails back and forth, he finally backed down. He said we could part on good terms, that he'd pay what was owed under the contract, and that everything would be settled within the week. When the payment came through, it was even more than I expected. Every call, email, and packet added up nicely, far above what I would have earned hourly. For once, I didn't have to argue, chase, or explain. I just followed the paperwork exactly as he'd written it. The funniest part, he'd tried to cut my pay to save money. Instead, his own sloppy contract made him pay me more than ever. I left the firm soon after, with my documentation neatly stored in case he ever tried to deny anything. By the time I walked away, I knew 2 things for sure. He'd never pull that trick on anyone else, and I'd just turned his own words into my paycheck.